My name is Diana, and I am 31 years old. My parents invited me to dinner to do the passes after 3 years of no contact. The message arrived on a Tuesday evening, just as I was closing my laptop after a horrible day at the office. My mother wrote exactly like that. Your father and I think it's time to put the past behind us. Let's have dinner together. Just us. I stared at the screen for several minutes because they never asked for forgiveness. Never. In my family, the problems were buried under fake smiles and expensive dinners. If someone suffered, they were expected to endure it in silence. And I had been refusing to do it for years. For 3 whole years, I ignored birthdays, calls, and family gatherings. After what they did to me with my grandmother's inheritance, I decided to disappear from their lives. My brother Alejandro called me selfish. My Aunt Clara said I was punishing the family. My dad told me I was ungrateful before he hung up the phone on me. No one asked how he was. No one wanted to hear my version. They just wanted me to accept everything and keep smiling. But that message left me thinking all week. Part of me wanted to believe that they had changed. Maybe the age, maybe the guilt. Maybe they were just tired of pretending that I didn't exist. So on Friday, I agreed to go. My mom replied almost instantly with the name of the restaurant and the time. Saturday, 8 p.m. The restaurant was one of the most expensive in the city. Warm losses, soft music, crystal glasses everywhere. As soon as I crossed the entrance, I felt that something was wrong. There was too much noise, too many familiar voices. Then I saw them. My whole family was there. My heart literally stopped. 16 people. My father raised his hand smiling as if nothing had happened. My mother opened her arms exaggeratedly. Alexander was sitting next to his wife laughing while drinking wine. Even my cousins were there. I had been set up. For a second, I thought about turning around and leaving, but everyone was already looking at me. Some faces showed discomfort, others seemed to enjoy the show. "Diana," my mother shouted. "We knew you'd come." I didn't answer. I slowly approached the table while trying to control the rage rising up my chest. My dad got up and patted me on the shoulder like we were a happy family. "This was a surprise," he said, smiling. "We wanted to bring everyone together." Bullshit. They never did anything without a reason. I looked at the table and immediately understood what was going on. There were lobster dishes everywhere. Bio. Open wine bottles. Oysters. Champagne. One of my cousins was photographing the food for Instagram while another ordered another bottle. The bill was going to be monstrous. I took a seat slowly without taking my eyes off them. The conversation continued as if I had never disappeared for 3 years. My aunt asked me about my job. My mom feigned interest in my apartment. Alejandro talked about investments and new cars. Everything was fake. Then, the real game started. "Do you remember when you were little and loved family gatherings?" my mother asked. I didn't answer. "You were always very sensitive," Clara added as she cut her steak. There he was. The little stabs disguised as normal conversation. My dad ordered another bottle of wine without even looking at the price. The waiter opened it in front of everyone while Alejandro let out a laugh. "This one costs more than my first car," he joked. Everyone laughed. I was still watching. When the waiter put down the bottle, I clearly said the label. $400. I felt something icy running through my body. Then I remembered something important. My father knew exactly how much I earned. Now, after years of effort, he had finally landed an important executive position. The last time we spoke, Alejandro had researched my professional profile, and he probably told everyone about it. It wasn't a dinner to make up, it was a dinner to use me. For almost 2 hours, I watched them order more and more food. Extra lobster, imported bagloo, expensive desserts, aged whiskey. No one looked at the prices, no one asked questions. My mom even said, "There's no need to worry about money today." And everyone laughed again. I already knew why. Then the time came. The waiter discreetly appeared with the black folder of the bill. My dad didn't even touch her, he just smiled and slowly pushed her towards me. "You pay, right?" The table fell silent. 16 people looking at me waiting. My mother crossed her hands with a faint smile. "After all, you are the one who earns the best now." Alejandro let out a short laugh. "Besides, you've been missing for 3 years. Consider it a family compensation." I felt my blood boil. They weren't even embarrassed. They had planned all this from the beginning. I slowly opened the folder. The account exceeded 4,000. 4,000. For a moment, I imagined getting up and shouting to them everything that I had been saving for years. I wanted to remind them how they manipulated my sick grandmother, how they falsified promises, how they made me look like the villain when I refused to sign suspicious documents. But then something better happened. Something much better. I took a deep breath and smiled. My father seemed confused. What's so funny about that? I calmly closed the folder and raised my hand, calling the waiter. The man quickly approached. I leaned over to him and whispered 2 sentences in his ear. The waiter looked at me surprised. Then he nodded slowly and walked away without saying a word. 15 minutes later, my family stopped smiling. The first few minutes after the waiter walked away were strangely quiet. My family kept talking and laughing without realizing what was happening behind them. My mother kept telling false stories about how difficult those years had been without me. Alejandro kept drinking wine as if he was already celebrating, having emptied my wallet, and my father had that arrogant smile that always appeared when he thought he had won. I was just observing. 15 minutes later, the restaurant manager appeared, accompanied by 2 more employees. He walked straight to our table with a serious expression. "Good evening," he said politely. "We need to solve a problem with the payment." My father smiled, pointing at me. "She pays." The manager didn't look at me. He looked at my father. "Sir, the reservation for this table was made with your name, your phone number, and your registered card as a guarantee." My father's smile slowly disappeared. "What?" The manager remained calm. "The lady informed me that she did not authorize any charges and that she was invited tonight as an additional assistant. According to our policies, the person responsible is the one who made the reservation." The whole table was frozen. My mother looked at me horrified. "Diana, what did you do?" I crossed my arms slowly. "Nothing. I just clarified that I didn't organize this dinner." Alejandro let out a nervous laugh. "Dad, pay up, and that's it." But my father was still motionless, looking at the bill. 387. The waiter discreetly left the receipt in front of him. I saw how his face changed color, because he didn't expect to pay. I hadn't even brought a card with enough balance. My mother tried to intervene quickly. "This is ridiculous. We are family." "Exactly," I replied. "And you decided to invite me to humiliate me in front of everyone." No one spoke. For the first time in years, none of them had a ready answer. The manager was still waiting. My father finally took out his wallet and handed over a black card, trying to maintain dignity. The manager took it and walked towards the terminal. A minute later, he came back. "I'm sorry, sir. Payment refused." The whole table was completely silent. I could literally hear the cutlery crashing on other tables in the restaurant. Alejandro leaned forward. "What do you mean by rejected?" The manager kept his composure. The transaction was not approved. My dad started sweating. My mother opened her eyes completely. "Try again," she said quickly. The manager tried again. Rejected again. Alexander began to curse under his breath. My Aunt Clara pretended to check her phone to avoid looking at anyone. My cousins stopped recording videos and photos immediately. Then I understood something wonderful. They really thought that I was going to accept everything quietly. As always, my dad finally looked at me. "Diana, don't do this." I laughed for the first time all night. "Do what?" "Refusing to pay for the dinner you guys arranged to manipulate me." "It was just a joke," my mother said desperately. "A $4,000 joke." No one answered. The manager cleared his throat. "We can split the bill between the attendees if necessary." And that's when the chaos started. Alejandro was the first to explode. "Why do I have to pay for it myself? I didn't order the most expensive bottle." My Aunt Clara immediately raised her voice. "Well, we didn't order baglu for the whole table either." One of my cousins pointed to Alejandro. "You ordered 2 extra plates." My mother tried to calm them down. "Please, people are watching us." But it was too late. Several tables were discreetly watching the spectacle. Even some employees tried to hide their laughter. My father kept looking at me as if he was still waiting for it to happen. Then he said something that ended up destroying any possibility of reconciliation. After all we spent raising you. Are you really going to leave us like this? I felt a mixture of anger and relief because I finally understood. They never wanted to get me back. They just wanted access to what I had. Money, stability, success, nothing more. I got up slowly from the chair. The whole table was watching me. Do you know what was the worst thing about losing this family? I asked, looking at them one by one. Thinking for years that maybe I was the bad person, but tonight they did me a favor. My mother had tears in her eyes. Diana. No, listen to me carefully. You guys didn't miss me.